Oregon, a land of adventure and awe, a treasure.
That was a great take.
Majestic and hidden. A state that calls out for exploration and experience. The journey of discovery begins now. From KGW, this is Grants Getaways.
Hi there, I'm Grant McComey, your host for KGW's Grants Getaways, as we discover Oregon's people, places, and outdoor adventures. You know, when I was a boy, I fell in love with long distance. Not the telephone kind, but the dust-filled lanes and back roads that enticed a small-town kid to explore his home region now more than 50 years ago. Along the way, I made a discovery of treasure that's measured in the memories of so many interesting people, fascinating places, and intriguing outdoor adventures. These days, my greatest pleasure comes from sharing with you each week. And this week on Grants Getaways, Oregon's coastal scenery can lead you to believe all is calm and serene. But there are times when risk and danger go with those brave enough to cross the bar at Tillamook Bay. And springtime hits its stride with amazing, colorful shows at 3 spring getaways for the price of 1 gas tank getaway, where you will slow down and savor bursts of Oregon's natural color. And the past is kept alive through recreation over a century-old McKenzie River drift boating for red-side rainbows. But first, we poke around western Oregon on a backroad byway to Astoria, and we find spring wildflowers, abundant hiking trails, and a spectacular waterfall. Astoria, Oregon is the oldest town site west of the Rockies, and where you'll find remarkable adventures. Exploring the Astoria Column, or the Liberty Theater, or the Columbia River Maritime Museum. At Astoria Brewing, there's always something good to choose.
Go!
And high flyers get a kick from zip lines at High Life Adventures near Warrenton.
3!
While the black powder demonstration at Fort Clatsop always gets your attention.
It's the oldest U.S. settlement west of the Rockies. That is truly, a bragging right. And also the beauty of the Columbia River meeting up with the Pacific Ocean.
Cast off.
The Columbia River's early days come alive when you join lifelong local Mark Schecker aboard his Arrow, a refurbished working boat that tours Astoria's waterfront.
It's always been that way. It's just a small town of 10,000 people, but everybody's heard of it.
Why is that important to you?
I just like history. I just like what people did and how hard they had to work and make a living back then. It was a lot more interesting time, in my opinion.
Those interesting times are easy to come by when you travel south and east of Astoria and Warrenton, skirting the Youngs River estuary on State Highway 202. Astoria's backdoor byway unwinds a slow and scenic adventure into the area's earliest days, like the short hike down a worn path to reach Youngs River Falls. Named for a British naval officer in 1792, it's a whopper that's worth a pause. So is this, the Wildlife Center of the North Coast.
What are you doing?
Just 9 miles from town.
There we go. She's been here since she was a chick, so very, very comfortable around people. 8 years old this summer.
It's a trauma ward for birds on the brink.
Yeah.
The ones that won't make it without a helping hand.
It's the only wildlife rehabilitation center on the entire Oregon coast. It is the only rehabilitation center in Oregon that can take in and care for seabirds, a resource that's unique to this area.
Special guided tours can be arranged, and an open house the first weekend in May allows you a visit. While just down the road, cruise in for some R&R of your own.
Well, most important thing is, it's the only place on 202. Welcome to Olney.
Olney, Oregon was founded in Oregon's early days by Cyrus Olney, one of the state's first Supreme Court justices. He established a town site on the Youngs River in the late 1800s. But 100 years ago, the highway was built and the town moved closer to it. And the only saloon and general store followed.
We don't have a deep fryer. We're not fast food. We cook everything to order. We have burgers, we have wraps, we have mac and cheese, we have specials. Try to mix it up so you don't get bored.
I like that it's a really comfortable atmosphere and kid-friendly, and the food is delicious. It's a hard between the French dip and the cheeseburgers, so tonight French dip won.
It's a nice scenic drive. It's a good excuse to get off at 26 with all the hubbub, slow down a little bit, but it's definitely easier on your brain and your heart. Less stressful.
State Highway 202 is not the fastest roadway between Portland and the Pacific, but it is the perfect backdoor byway for peace and solitude.
That's beautiful. The texture of it, just layers upon layers of growth there.
Wow, that's pretty.
It's beautiful.
Can't believe we've never been here. And the sun's finally coming out.
I know.
It's gorgeous.
Elijah and Gabby Hanley agree. Heart-stopping moments are easy to come by on this back road, where little trails lead to big discoveries, like Lee Wooden Park just off Highway 202.
Well, this is perfect weather for waterfall shooting.
Today, Elijah eyeballs Fishhawk Falls. It does so in a 75-foot foamy moment.
I'm gonna give it a go.
Okay.
He decides on a quick scoot for a closer look.
A really nice, tight composition. The way the water's breaking apart in the upper falls is nice, and then the stream leads out of the lower left-hand corner here to kind of guide your eye into the frame.
Soon another Highway 202 pull-off feels right at home at the Jewel Wildlife Area.
In the elk, a couple of the viewing areas will come right up next to you. It's incredible to be that close and personal with these big animals.
Gabby and Elijah agree that it's important to dive deep wherever you travel. It's the journey that supports the destination.
Not go to necessarily the biggest spots that everyone goes
the
to,
touristy
the touristy spots, but really look around the area and see what else you can find that's unique and special and a little more off the beaten path.
So hurry here soon, and then slow down on a back road byway that's one of the best around. Stay with us. The past is kept alive through recreation over a century old. McKenzie River drift boating for red side rainbows when Grants Getaways continues. You can tell a lot about a community's pride by the parades they put on.
Is it time? It's getting pretty dang close.
Each spring on the McKenzie River, they have a dandy, and all of it is handmade.
They're specifically designed for running white water, and they make wonderful fishing platforms. They're safe, they're stable. Oregon is the spawning grounds for this very unique drift boat.
We're ready to rock and roll.
They gather from all over to parade down the McKenzie.
Is it a good ride?
It's a chance to connect with old friends and relive history, a time when wooden drift boats ruled Oregon rivers.
The rivers had been unexplored. When they came up with the design, it's much more nimble than the previous boats they had, and they were able to go into Canada, Idaho, and quite a few Oregon rivers for the first time.
They rendezvous below towering Eagle Rock, where the host welcomes all with open arms.
This is a totally community event. I set the date, I make a poster, I let people know what's going to happen, and they show up and do their thing. The boats that you see here were invented on the McKenzie. So started in about 1931 and evolved in their shape and their use through about 1955 or so, and now they're used worldwide.
Nearly 40 wooden drift boats, some gleaming with a newness that hasn't rubbed off, while others are rugged and worn with Oregon's past.
The Trapper was built in 1939 by Woody Heinemann for Prince Helfrich. Every boat that is at this boat show evolved off of this particular boat. I didn't add anything to the boat. Everything on this boat is completely original. This is what it looked like in 1939. Old
family movies show Prince Helfrich and Woody Heinemann in their prime. The two designed, built, and rode drift boats and made it look easy. Soon the boats caught on, so more folks could ride over rapids, skip past boulders, and leave all their troubles behind.
Beauty of having a boat is you can get close to the fish.
Prince's grandson, Aaron Helfrich, says a century later drift boating has the same purpose: catch big fish.
The hatchery rainbow.
Standard size?
Yeah, that's a standard rainbow for the McKenzie River.
Yeah. Aaron is the third generation of the Helfrich clan to guide fishermen on the McKenzie River.
To our left, you can see it's fairly shallow. To our right, it's fairly deep and changing current. So about off the bow in here is where I would expect the fish to be. The parachute on top makes them very visible. If you can't see your dry fly while it's on the water, you're not fishing. You need to be able to see the fish take that fly, so you have a couple seconds to set that hook in his lip.
He has caught fish,
the big man, there,
in each of the McKenzie's 63 fishable miles that reach from the Cascades to the valley floor.
Now skate it back. You should get a bite in there.
He shares his knowledge with newcomers, too.
Oh, baby, that was fabulous.
That was a great take. That's a nice red side. That's the fish that made the McKenzie famous right there. When these rainbows get up over 12, 13 inches, they develop this broad red band, and they have a lot of spirit when you catch them on a dry fly.
A spirit that is also measured by his family's 100-year-old tie to the river. Aaron says there are now 15 Helfriches guiding across Oregon rivers, most in boats that his grandfather made famous.
I wonder how that would make Prince feel. You don't know.
I bet he had no idea what he was starting. Great office to have out here. It's really, if you have the opportunity to do it, it's hard to want to do anything else.
Stay with us. Spring hits its stride at 3 spring getaways for the price of 1 gas tank. You will slow down for bursts of Oregon color when Grants Getaways continues. Dick Cavender calls Portland's Crystal Springs Rhododendron Garden the city's best-kept secret.
I'm constantly amazed at the number of people I run into who are plant people who don't know Crystal Springs even exists.
The garden is at its prime right now. A real riot of color has exploded across 9+ acres. Fed by natural springs that you can see bubbling up out of the ground, the garden is surrounded by water.
Something like 5,000 plants in this garden, and there are all shades of colors and all sizes of plants, and some of the foliage forms are just unbelievable.
The garden opened in 1950 through a partnership between the city and the Portland chapter of the American Rhododendron Society. It is a must-see for out-of-towners and anyone who calls Portland home.
How do I learn about what's appropriate in my garden? Can I do that here?
Well, certainly take a look at our landscape and see how smaller things are fit in. Where else can you find 170 varieties of birds, 80 varieties of trees? We have all kinds of herbaceous perennials, bulbs, ferns, huge variety of plant material in this garden.
Getaway Garden number 2 is Eugene's oldest city park, Hendricks Park. It sprawls across nearly 80 acres, and within that, 15 acres are dedicated to rhodies and azaleas.
Rhododendron and Camellia Society got approval from City Council to plant a rhododendron garden up here. Some of these are the original rhododendrons. A lot of these are just over 50-year-old plants.
A small army of volunteer friends provide the labor force to keep the park in tip-top shape. Emily Yanni says many rare and gorgeous specimens are at their finest through May.
Just about at the height of their bloom. We have a mix of native and horticultural varieties of plants. We have some white bleeding hearts right here, rhododendrons, azaleas, camellias, a lot of variety and diversity.
Finally, my all-day roadie roundabout wraps up at garden number 3, set in the vast ag landscape of Marion County near Shampooey State Park. It's a garden where the roots are all in the family.
We enjoyed growing up here, of course, but it's become really quite magnificent over the years. It's something to, as a legacy for our parents and something to be shared with them.
The Cecil and Molly Smith Garden was an all-family affair when the first plantings went in the ground more than 6 decades ago, a time when everyone pitched in, including brothers Al and Sid Smith.
We helped maintain the trails. We did some weeding, and since I was the tallest person in the family, I got to do the deadheading, that is picking the old flowers off the plants because I could reach the highest.
Cecil Smith was a farmer and avid gardener who collected seeds and pollen from Europe, Japan, and even China. He was famous for the hybrid rhodies he created. His garden was purchased by the Portland chapter of the American Rhododendron Society in '83. It offers you more than 500 different plants to admire. Everyone has a favorite in this woodland garden that's open to the public on weekends, like this beauty called Cameo.
Mostly that it's a woodland garden rather than a formal garden. And you're going under large trees, rhodies, azaleas. He very much wanted the plant to look good all year round.
Al and Sid Smith agree the winding trails invite you along. The color is everywhere in here, you know. You can't quite see what's around the next bend until you get to the next bend, a soul-satisfying way to round out a day's adventure.
It's here to be shared.
Stay with us. Oregon's coastal scenery can lead you to believe all is calm and serene. But there are times risk and danger go with those who cross the bar and go to work in Tillamook Bay. But Grants Getaways continues. Sometimes the best scenery is hiding in plain sight.
Well, the view you have from here is pretty amazing.
This over-the-shoulder scene is lost to most folks driving up the new 1.5-mile Cape Mears Loop Road.
Pretty amazing view. It's one of the better ones on the coast, I think.
But Don Backman knew it was a keeper shortly after the road reopened after a decade-long closure last fall.
Pretty cool shot.
He promised us the best was yet to come. He was right.
Holy cow, look at that. Well, that's $1 million shot, huh?
It's gorgeous. You would not ever have seen that view because this is the only place you're going to see it from.
You can see it from this new scenic overlook created by Tillamook County road planners. The view to Three Arch Rocks is unique and stunning.
When you discovered this view shot for the first time, what were you thinking?
It's an amazing view. It really is. It's, you know, I've hiked most of the Oregon coast, on the Oregon coast trails. I've seen the views, and it stacks right up there with any of them. It's that contrast between the white water and the dark rock. It's just beautiful.
Backman's beauty shots are easy to come by in his corner of the state. The lifelong local and retired teacher makes the most of his gorgeous outdoor neighborhoods in Tillamook County, with eagles and herons and egrets galore. Not bad for a fella gifted with an eye for the wild, who was hooked with his first camera at age 12.
It's like a whole new world. It's like, whoa, what is this? You know, and you could go out and take an image, and you could develop it and watch it develop in the old darkroom, and you could see that come to life on your prints when you make prints and stuff. It was just a way to tell a story. It was really a lot of fun.
Don's latest storytelling challenge takes him where wind and rain and towering surf are fierce. Atop the jetty rocks at Barview, when the hardcore fishers go to work.
If you watch them go in and out and how they read the water and how they're picking their way, it's amazing their skill. And for just somebody watching it, it's amazing that they could do what they do.
Don does what few photographers try. Up to 24 Oregon Dungeness crab boats crossing the Tillamook Bar day and night from January through spring.
I tell my crew that, you know, there's some days you just don't tell your wife or your mother about what we did today. And
Bob Browning is a longtime fisher and a skipper. There he is at the wheel of his boat, the Lady Lee, crossing the bar.
Every day is different. Every swell's a different direction, a different period length. There's times where you have to make your decision to keep going or to turn around, and you only have a split second to do it, and then you're either safe or you're not.
Browning says the trips are never twice the same, and you better know the way. He adds, Backman's photos get it right.
He knows the right minute to hit the button. I mean, he doesn't just catch you in the action, he catches you at the peak of the action. Like the spray coming off of the boat when a wave hits us and things like that.
Don captures the fisherman's wild and dangerous commute because it's important to share the story of Oregon men and women who put the food on our tables.
They go out and they're working and they think nothing of it. It's just what they do. Yeah. But when you watch them go out or come in when it's nasty, it just kind of gives you some awe, you know.
We have all the details, directions, and the contact information for all the segments in this week's show on the KGW website, so be sure to check it out. Finally, it has always been my hope that Grants Getaways helps people swell a bit with pride for all there is to see and do in our corner of the world. I want you to get out there and explore the great Oregon outdoors and let Grants Getaways be your guide. For KGW and Grants Getaways, I'm Grant McKenzie.
Grants Getaways on KGW is sponsored by Astoria Brewing Company, England Marine and Industrial Supply, and Fish Hawk Fisheries.